The much-awaited NATO summit has begun at the Lithuanian capital city of Vilnius. This is a 2-day summit that comes at a very critical juncture. First, it has been 503 days since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, in which there is no outright winner so far. Second, just a few weeks back, Russian president had survived an insurrection from Wagner group. Third, USA has agreed to send cluster bombs to Ukraine even after vehement opposition from human rights groups. And fourth, yesterday, Turkey finally agreed for Sweden's inclusion in the alliance after much dilly-dallying. In this backdrop, it is crucial to understand what the summit hopes to achieve. This summit is in fact the fourth NATO summit since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with the first held virtually on February 25, 2022, just one day after the assault, followed by meetings in Brussels and in Madrid. This extraordinary flurry of gatherings stands in contrast to the previous rhythm of annual NATO summits and shows how war on its doorstep has forced the alliance to strengthen cooperation. The most crucial question would be about Ukraine's entry to NATO. The summit looks set to be dominated by how NATO will define its future relationship with Ukraine amid repeated calls by President Volodymyr Zelensky for Kyiv to receive an invitation into the alliance at Vilnius. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has said that Kyiv will not become a member while the war rages and that the summit will not issue a formal invitation. Still, allies are divided over how swiftly Ukraine should be allowed to join after the fighting ends. While Eastern European countries say that a roadmap should be offered to Kyiv, the US and Germany are wary of any move that might take the alliance closer to war with Russia. Some countries have suggested to allow Kyiv to skip the so-called Membership Action Plan program that sets out political, economic and military targets candidates have to meet and that other Eastern European nations had to pass before joining NATO. With such a move, the alliance could address demands to go beyond the declaration of the Bucharest summit in 2008, which said Ukraine would become a member eventually without offering Kyiv an actual invitation or timetable. Another thorny point will be to discuss what security assurances Kyiv should get after the war, even though those pledges will be bilateral and not issued by the alliance itself. They will likely include the promise of continued military and financial aid to Kyiv to deter Russia from a renewed attack once the war has ended. Stoltenberg has underlined that NATO, under Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, will provide full-fledged security guarantees to full members of the alliance only. Next major step would be approving the first defense plans the alliance has drawn up since the Cold War, detailing how NATO would respond to a Russian attack. The revival of the so-called regional plans signifies a fundamental shift. With the plans, the alliance also gives nations guidance on how to upgrade their forces and logistics. NATO had for decades seen no need for large-scale defense plans, but with Europe's bloodiest war since 1945 raging just beyond its borders in Ukraine, it is now a warning that it must have all the planning in place well before a conflict with a peer adversary such as Moscow begins.
Subscribe to Oneindia channel and never miss an update.